So the Daily Mail is up to its usual delightful tricks, and I have just seen on the Lorraine programme that the Dr. Hillary is talking about the increase in cancer checks, which is being linked to HRT. The Daily Mail, I won't click on it. I won't give them the clickbait. The Daily Mail, I literally have just put in warning into Google, and it's come up, and it's only the Daily Mail that it's come up with. So please, if anybody's seen it anywhere else, let me know. But it says hormone replacement therapy warning after rise in womb cancer checks. So even on Google, the checks bit isn't in purple. So you literally just see that really scary bit. So the headline on the Lorraine programme is also not ideal, but the interview was actually really informative. So if you can't be bothered, go on, find it, fast forward, I'll give you a little overview. So there has basically been an increase in checks with regards to women that are probably having like irregular bleeding and maybe excessive bleeding, and potentially it's because they've started to use HRT, and obviously then what they're going to do is check. We want to check that everything is okay. There's mention of the fact that the certain clinics maybe are giving higher doses than potentially is licensed with regards to HRT, in particular with estrogen. So it may well be that if you are under, let's say, a private clinic, that you are being given more than like the Everol 100 or 4 pumps of estrogen, which is like what is the licensed dose. Some women may have issues absorbing it. There's all kinds of reasons that you may have a higher dose, but it does, there are things to consider when that's the case. So why does it matter if you are on a higher dose or if you have like high estrogen? So if you haven't had a hysterectomy, if you still have your womb and you have a high dose of estrogen or estrogen only, and you're not then balancing it with progesterone, then your womb lining becomes thicker. So that's what estrogen does. It thickens your womb lining. Now, if you've not got the progesterone to help get rid of that womb lining that's not required, then the womb lining can build up, and obviously there's too much of it, and then that can be something that you don't want, and that can be like a breeding ground basically. So don't worry, I have Mirena Coil, that's my progesterone, and I'm on Everol 100, and that is fine and dandy. If you're taking your Utrogestin tablets and you're on a gel or your patch, or you've got your Conti patches, as long as you're covering that progesterone side of things, then you're not, that womb lining isn't getting thicker. Because of the natural increase that we've seen with people having HRT, because we now know that, one, we know what our symptoms are, we know the perimenopause, and two, we know that HRT can really help. Obviously with that comes there'll be more people that are potentially going to their GP with irregular bleeding, or bleeding that they're I've started HRT, I may have been bleeding for a while and it might not be normal, and so you're going to get that checked. So they do maybe an ultrasound check to check the lining of your womb, so they can look and see whether that lining's too thick and whether it is or it isn't, so they can rule out what any issues, and also they can do biopsies. So there hasn't been an increase in cases. There's been an increase in checks, which is because there's more of us using HRT. So it isn't that there's an increased risk, there's just more of us using it, and therefore there's more of us having questions about our bodies because we're using it. The scary things that we've heard about HRT, the research was flawed. It's been proven to be flawed. So firstly, the HRT that they were using is not what we would use now. It's just not what would be prescribed now. And there was also lots of other things with regards to the sample and issues that they already had. So, there's risks in everything, obviously, and it's always making sure it's the right thing for you. But there's a lot of alarmist stuff out there, and the Daily Mail, honestly, it just drives me mad because they just put out stuff and it's just scaremongering. You know, as women, you know, we've made a decision. You know, I know, even though I'd looked into everything, it's still there in your mind. You know, you're still like thinking about, you know, is this the right thing? And you know, for me, it 100%, it was, you know, I wouldn't be without it because I'm functioning and I'm looking after my heart health, I'm looking after my brain health, and I'm looking after my bone health and the long term benefits of those. But yeah, it's individual, but please just, don't let these headlines that are just so frustrating because they're not helpful. They're really not helpful.